talk to you about this week's assignments, just so you kind of know what's going on. 3 things I've posted on Google Classroom: a link to a new quizzes, a link to a review chart, and the DBQ for this week. And I want to talk about each one of these. Now, the first one I want to talk about, first let me take you to our page on Google Classroom so you see exactly what this looks like. So let me get here, right here. There we go. So what you see is typical page on Google Classroom, and you'll see that I have 3 things listed here. I have the immigration migration chart, I have the DBQ, and I have the quizzes. Now I'm going to talk to you about each one of these. First, I'm going to talk about quizzes. Quizzes is going to cover immigration and migration this week. It's a little bit shorter than last week's. I think there's only like 60, maybe 63 questions on that. And I want to remind you that quizzes is due by Friday night at 11:45. Now, some of you guys experienced this last week, but at 11:45 p.m. on Friday, that quiz locks. It doesn't reopen. It's not like assignments on Google Classroom where you can still do it if it's late. If it's not done, it's not done. But like last week, you can take it as many times as you want, and I'll get the score from quizzes to put your highest score into the gradebook. So I'd recommend, start working on that. It's a great review. The next thing I want to talk about is the immigration chart. And I want to show that to you because I think this could be a really good tool that you'll be able to use this week, should you choose to do that. So let me get to that over here, right here. All right. Now, what you're going to see here is on this chart is it's going to cover immigration and migration throughout the time period of our study. Now, I am not collecting this. I'm going to tell you that flat out. I think, though, this is you can use as a tool. But if you scroll down, you can see that, for the time periods that technically aren't on the exam, I've already filled those boxes in for you. So all you have to fill in is what is, on this year's exam. So that's going to be the first wave of immigration from the 1800s to 1860s, the second wave of immigration, and the third wave of immigration, I'd like you to fill in if you're interested. You don't necessarily have to. That first and second, absolutely, for this exam. Then you get down to the second part, and that's migration. And migration refers to movement within our country. So I do want you to review the Native Americans, how they moved from 1754 to 1812, 1754 being the beginning of the French Indian War. So that should be kind of obvious how it goes. The domestic slave trade. Now I have it, going from 1808 to 1865. Slaves came in 1619, but what happened domestically with the slave trade? You might have to look some of that up. And then you also have, the antebellum westward migration, manifest destiny, urbanization, the Great Migration during the Great Depression, the Okies and stuff like that. And then you'll notice down at the bottom of the chart, what you have is the time periods of the 1950s, 1960s. 70s, 80s, 90s, up until the 2000s. So I've already filled that in for you. But I would do this first. This is what I would work on through the week to start reviewing immigration and migration. Now, I don't know what's going to be on the exam, but I know on several of the AP reviews that they've been doing on YouTube, those live reviews, they've talked about immigration and migration, several times throughout those. So this is one of those big topics you should be aware of. So like I said, I'd recommend do this chart first. Again, you're not turning it in, so you can just handwrite it. You can type it, whatever you want, but this will be very helpful for you as we move forward. Now, what I'd like to talk about is the DBQ. So let me get over to that screen. The DBQ this week is going to be a little bit different. We've been working on DBQs the last few weeks, but they've been in chunks. This one, we're going to do the full DBQ, and we're going to do it by time. I'm going to give you 45 minutes to get it done. So when we look at that, this DBQ is going to be on immigration and migration, hence the chart I gave you. Now, what I would recommend, and actually let me, this is the DBQ here, the prompt, evaluate the extent of change in the response of the American public to the international immigration from 1840 to 1890. So we're going across several time periods there. We're coming in at the end of time period 5 or 4. We're getting all of period 5, and we're going into the majority of period 6. So that's going from the end of manifest destiny into, you know, the sectionalism, Civil War, Reconstruction, and going into the Gilded Age. So I think this is a fair question that could be asked on the AP exam. So as you go through it, like the other ones, 5 documents I want you to consider as you're, you know, writing this DBQ. Here's where it's going to get interesting. And this is where I want you guys to take a deep breath. Last week, I had you do a DBQ exercise where you kept track of time. Today or this week, you're going to be doing a DBQ, the entire thing based on time. So let me share one more screen with you if I can find it. Here we go. I think the first thing you need to do is set up a time and a space that you'll be able to do this uninterrupted, because I want you to actually spend 45 minutes on that. No more, no less. I don't want you opening the documents before you do this. I don't want you to do a practice writing and then go back. I want you doing this completely with no, you know, practice knowledge, just on the cuff. That's what you're going to do. Now, what I would recommend is when you open your DBQ on your laptop, your desktop, whatever it is, I'd split the screen. I'd have the DBQ on one side so you could access the documents, and then you're going to write this on a Google Doc. So you're going to have to open up a Google Doc, and that's where you're going to do your writing. Having the split screen, you'll be able to go back and forth from the documents to your writing. I'd also set up my workplace this way. This is not mine. I stole this from another teacher, or she actually shared it with me, so I didn't really steal it. But you can see on her, you know, on her desktop, what she has is she has her phone right there with the timer on it. She's going to have notes, maybe the immigration worksheet. Now, you know, it's going to be on immigration, so that's going to make it a little bit easier for you. But she has notes to the side that she can reference very easy. She has scratch paper down to the left where she can jot down key points from each document. If you want to print up one of those, a blank DBQ paper that we've been using, if you want to print one of those up and use that, that's fine. And then she has reference sheets kind of put up. So stuff that you can have, but have it all within reach, all that you can just turn and look very easily, and set up your workplace that way. When it's time to start, hit the start button on the 45 minutes, open the DBQ, analyze the documents, and start writing. I want you to stop at 45 minutes. I don't care how much you have done. This exercise is just for time and time alone. Please do not pause and walk away and then come back and everything. You need to do this 45 minutes straight. You need to know what this time limit feels like, because in 18 days, well, I'm making this on Monday. So from today, 18 days, or on Friday the 15th, that's all you're going to have is that 45 minutes. You need to get a feel for it. So plan ahead. That's why you have until Sunday at midnight to do this. But it's only a 45-minute assignment. When you're done, just submit it via Google Classroom. Like I said, I'm not grading your DBQ. What I'm grading is the effort. So, you know, some of you guys might get more written. Some of you guys might only get the first paragraph written. I need more than just a sentence, though. I can tell if you guys are just, you know, doing it to do it. I can also tell the time on your document. So as soon as you open that document, you should submit it 46, 47 minutes later is when I should see the submission time, just like we will with the exam. So when your timer hits 45, stop writing, submit immediately, okay? If you have any questions, I'll be talking more about this in my review sessions Tuesday, Wednesday afternoon at 4, Thursday morning. Thursday morning, we're going to talk a little bit more about that immigration chart. So bring that with you. But other than that, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. All right? Have a great week, guys. Bye-bye.